The biggest sin in the world is bringing children into the world. But before we talk about that, watch this.
What if all of our sorrows really do come from the fact that we're taking on this knowledge of good and evil and wrestling with it and having conversations about it and trying to pretty much play God all over the world? That's pretty much what we're doing, trying to play God, control other people, what is the right way of doing things, what is the wrong way of doing things, etc., etc. All because now we have an overload of information that is just not meant for us to have. It was meant for God for us to have. And as intelligent as we are, maybe we weren't supposed to. I ain't gonna say we weren't meant to be this intelligent. Maybe we weren't meant to be so intelligent so quick.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's true, bro. That's the problem with Benedictine and them niggas, because it's like, bro, like, the deeper that you go, I'm not even trying to like play. I'm just saying that's what it is. Like, the deeper you go into something, the more you focus your brain into thinking about why something is, why are we here, why did this happen. The more you're gonna
Like that was really funny. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. That's the problem with Benedictines and them niggas. Like that was funny. But there's something that I want you to realize. I think it's important that you realize what I'm about to tell you. If humanity's original sin was eating from the tree of knowledge, wouldn't it have been best for Adam and Eve to not have children? I mean, God was pissed off. He was so pissed off that he cursed all snakes, like all kinds of snakes. Isn't that crazy? Anacondas, cobras, pythons, like he cursed all of them. Like, dude was angry. It means what Adam and Eve did was so wrong, according to him. He cursed everyone involved. It was so wrong that he cursed everyone involved. If eating from the tree of knowledge somehow made us impure, wouldn't it have been best for Adam and Eve to be like, you know what, we are sinners. There's nothing that, we'll be able to do to change that. Let's just not create more visions of ourselves, because if we make babies, our babies are also going to be sinners. I want you to think about that for a second. I mean, the Bible clearly says that everyone is a sinner. And once you are born, you are a sinner. So, isn't it logical to say, hey, since each and every person who's here is a sinner, since being born makes us sinners, I'm not going to have children? Doesn't that make sense? If that makes sense, that means that each and every person who's a Christian should not be making babies. If you think about it. If you really want to be honest with yourself, each and every person who believes in the Bible should not be making babies. Be like, I don't want to, I don't want to create new people who are going to sin against God. I mean, I'll be responsible if you think about it. If you make a baby and that baby does something that's messed up, you are responsible, because you don't have to procreate, right? It's not like if you don't procreate, God is gonna punish you. No, you don't have to procreate. You don't have to create more sinners. Listen, if you create a person who's going to shoot up a school, you you are the one who actually caused that to happen, directly and indirectly. If you're going to create a person who's going to create a person who's going to create a person who's going to end up shooting up a school, or who's going to end up being like Hitler, you're responsible. Like, you know what we're capable of as humans. And you know, I mean, as if you're a Christian, you know that, well, God doesn't really like humans that much, right? I mean, you might say, well, it does. It's fine. You can believe that. But he considers us to be sinners. It means there's something about us that he doesn't like. That is why he considers all of us to be sinners. That is why he wants us to change. And he's like, no, I'm going to send my son. I'm going to send Jesus. And, this is humanity's last chance. If y'all guys don't change, that's on you. I've given you a chance. You just have to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. You must dumb down a little, because to really accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you have to dumb down a little. You see, maybe God is against people being smart, because if you're going to be smart, you're not going to just want to believe something that doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe God is like, you know what? I want these creatures to be dumb. I don't want these creatures to be very intelligent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide from them. I'm going to speak to some people, tell them to write, some books. And whoever believes what's written on those books, and like fully believe what's written on those books, and actually like live by those books, then I'm gonna accept that person in heaven. But if humans want to be smart, because I'm against that, then nah, they're not making it to heaven. I don't want people who think in heaven. I mean, look at what happened with the devil. Like, he was intelligent, and he started to rebel because he was able to think for himself. So I don't want that. I don't want beings that are going to rebel. Sometimes I laugh, like, I laugh at how I think. But think about it. God seems to truly be against intelligence. Like, he doesn't want us to be intelligent. That is why the original sin was, us having knowledge. That was the original sin. He didn't want us to, know. Didn't want us to be more conscious than animals. So really, it would be logical to just decide not to make copies of ourselves, because we are sinners. Like, even if you're not religious, you know that humanity is messed up. There's something that Sage said on this clip. Sage is the light-skinned nigga that I thought was interesting. He said, what if our depression, like human beings, like lots of humans right now are depressed, lots of human beings are not happy, what if that is caused by the fact that we have a lot of knowledge. We are more conscious than animals, and we weren't supposed to be this conscious, and that is the problem. And I thought that was a very good point, because in this world, the more you know, the more stressed you become. It seems like people who are truly ignorant are the people who are, kind of like happy. But people who are very conscious are people who are very unhappy. So it makes a lot of sense. Like, what he's saying really makes a lot of sense. Growing up, I used to think that if I became very conscious and started to know a lot of things, I'll become happier because I believe that this world was good. But like I always say, we don't live in a world that is good, that seem bad. We live in a world that seem good, but that is actually bad. So the more you know, the more you realize that something isn't right. So of course you're not gonna be happy. But if you don't know enough and you just look at what's going on in the world, you be like, oh, this is good, you see, because the world seems good. It's supposed to seem good. That's why people who are not conscious think that this world is good. But here's what I want to say. If knowing something is going to make you depressed, then it is really important that you know it. Let that sink in, because that's really important. If knowing something is going to make you depressed, then it's important that you know it. It isn't bad for you to become depressed because you know something. That is actually good, because that means that you're going to do the right thing. It means there's something that you're supposed to do that's actually going to help you. If you do not know something that is important for you to know, then you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But if you know something that you need to know, then you will know exactly what you need to do. If you were in a relationship with a person who did not care about you, if you're in a relationship with a person who is manipulating you, lying to you, cheating on you, and you didn't know that, and because you didn't know that, you are happy, like, hey, everything is cool, right? Everything is cool. Would you say that's actually good? Or what would be better is for you to actually know that, hey, this person that I'm in a relationship with is manipulating me. This person that I'm in a relationship with is lying to me. This person that I'm in a relationship with is probably gonna turn their backs on me. This person is probably gonna turn their back on me. So I must leave this relationship. That is really important. Knowing is important. Not knowing is not good. You're supposed to know. If there's something that is going on, especially something that is evil, you're supposed to know that, okay, that's what's going on. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people are procreating. Like, they don't know what is happening in the world. Sage and Coop. It's funny that I sometimes call him Kun. The Sage and Coop went on to say that, if you focus like on what's happening in the world, you're not gonna be happy. Like, if you try to figure out why you exist, you're gonna become depressed. If you knew what's happening in the White House, you probably off yourself, right? You probably off yourself, because of course there are like some messed up things that are happening in the White House. Or think about it. If there are messed up things that are happening in the White House that you do not know about, is it good for you to not know about these things? Is it good for society to know about these things? Or is it good for society to not know about these things? Like, think about it. What I will tell you is that it is actually best to know than to not know, so that you will know exactly what you need to do, so that you won't make unnecessary mistakes. If having children was actually wrong, it would be best for you to know that that is actually wrong, so that you do not bring innocent people into this world of suffering unnecessarily, because no one is pushing you to have children. You're having children because there are some things that you are not aware of. So knowing is actually better than not knowing. Even if that's going to make you depressed. Even if that's going to make you depressed. Let's say they were putting something in the water that we drink and that was making us dumb. Right? That was making us dumb. That was making us do exactly what they want us to do, without asking questions. And there were some drugs that you can take that would actually make you conscious and become exactly how you're supposed to be as a human. Would you say taking those drugs is bad because you're gonna start to know that, hey, something is wrong here, something is wrong, there's something that's wrong that's going on in the, and it's actually better for people to just remain ignorant and continue to work their shitty jobs, be fed garbage, manipulated. What will be better? I know you know that. Well, what will be better is people actually know what is really going on in the world so that they will make the right decisions. So trust me, even though people who know what I know are less happy than people who don't know what I know, that is actually best because they are making the best decisions that can be made by humans. Like realizing that you shouldn't bring another conscious being into this world, that's good. You should realize that as a human. You must try to end this cycle of torture, this cycle of suffering, because it's totally unnecessary. It seems like the only way that humans can be happy is if they are actually ignorant. It's like by being ignorant, you actually become happy. By not knowing, you actually become happy. So you can see that something isn't right. Is it? Knowing should actually make you happy. If you are in a world that is actually good, then knowing would actually make you happy. But because the world that we live in is evil, then knowing makes us unhappy. So if you are truly being honest with yourself, you realize that it is better to know than to not know. It's better to think deeply than to not think. It's better to question everything than to not question anything. Even if that means you are going to be depressed. Even if that means that you're going to suffer from what they call mental illnesses. The truth is wicked. That's the thing. The truth is wicked. We do not live in a world that is good, but that seems bad. We live in a world that is actually bad, but that seems good. That's why the truth is wicked. So it is important that we open our eyes and try to see things as they really are so that we'll make the right decisions. You see? There's a reason why people who live in third world countries are procreating like crazy. It's because they don't know enough about the world, They don't know shit about the world. They don't know what's going on in the world. It's like they're disconnected from the real world. They don't know what's being done to them. They don't know how they are being manipulated. It's like the more conscious you become, the more you know what's being done to you. What are the wrong things that are being done to you? So you ask yourself, hey, should I really bring my children into this mess? Where they'll have to go through the same things that I had to go through? Really? Will I be doing the right thing? But if you don't know what's going on, if you still think like an animal, you just be like, hey, I'm just gonna have children. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna have children so that they will have more children. I'm trying to leave a legacy, blah blah blah. But if you think deeply, you'll realize that something isn't right, and I shouldn't perpetuate this cycle of suffering. It's totally unnecessary. I have nothing to lose. If I don't have children, doesn't mean that I have anything to lose. I'm not going to lose anything by not having children. I'm not going to suffer just because I decided not to have children. In fact, my life is going to be better because I did not have children. I'm like doing better than I would be doing if I had children. That's the thing. I'm doing much better than than I would be doing if I had children. I'm not stressing about what my childhood is going to eat, how my child is being treated at school, if my child is going to be healthy, you know. I'm not stressing. I don't have baby mama's issues. I'm free. I'm focusing on what I need to be focusing on, which I think is important, rather than being distracted. I understand that as humans, we were programmed to want to make babies, but we also need to ask ourselves what is going on where we are. I think some animals, before procreating, they actually try to, study their environment, see what's going on. They don't just procreate. Like, okay, just because I can procreate, I'm procreating. Study the environment, see what's going on. So humans should do that too. You study the environment that you are in. What's really going on? What is the truth? Because you don't know anything about what's going on. Things just happen around you and you have no idea why these things are happening. You're just following your basic instincts. If you were created to be a slave, then you continue being a slave and creating more slaves because that's how you've been programmed. But if you become intelligent enough to realize that you were programmed to be a slave, then you'll stop being a slave and you'll stop creating more slaves. So we need to open our eyes. We need to be open-minded enough to see what we're never really meant to see, because there's a reason why we're never meant to see some things. There's a reason why the American government is not telling Americans everything. There's a reason why. And it's not a good reason. If the American government knew something that was good, you would know. That wouldn't be hidden from you. But if the American government knew something that was bad, it's like, hey, we're not telling the citizens of America this. Like, this is this is too much. I mean, if you do something that's evil, you don't want to tell people. You don't want to be like, oh, I want to go and tell people like I've done something evil, and feel excited to tell people. You wouldn't feel like that. Of course, you would want to hide that. But if you do something that's good, you can't wait to tell people. If you give a homeless guy $20, can't wait to tell people. You bring it up. You just bring it up out of nowhere. You'll be talking about something else. You just bring it up. You can be with a girl about to get laid. No, you know that well, now you're talking about sex. It's really turned on. You bring it up. Like, I just gave a homeless guy $20. But if you stole $20 from a homeless guy, you never tell anyone. Like, nope. So knowledge can only be kept away from you if you are being controlled. If knowing is going to make you feel a certain way about the person who's withholding the knowledge. Maybe God was afraid that if we knew the truth, we would not love him, and he wants to be loved. See, when you read the Bible, you realize that God wants you to love him. He wants you to worship him. So if you knew the truth, you wouldn't want to worship him, and he doesn't like that. If you knew the truth, you'd become like the devil. You start to rebel. Because people like us, we kind of like the devil. You know, people who think like me, like we are rebelling. And we're not bad. It's not like we evil. In fact, we better than most people. But we kind of like the devil because we are rebelling against society. We know something that everyone doesn't seem to know. We understand something that everyone doesn't seem to understand. And we're like, something is wrong with this society. So we're not going to be doing, the things that everyone is doing. We'd rather do what makes the most sense. So people like us can be compared with the devil. Can compare us to the devil. And it's easy to make us look evil. It's easy to make someone who's saying they don't want to have kids because the world is full of suffering. It's easy to make them look evil. Even if they're not doing anything evil. Even if they're actually doing the right thing. Even if they are actually thinking for the unborn, which is really important, it's easy to make them look evil. If the world was good, people who think like me would be the good guys. Everyone will look at us and be like, these people are the good guys because they are thinking about the unborn. So their reason for not having children has to do with how evil the world is, and they do not want to bring children into a world that is evil. They know that is wrong. So that is good because they have compassion. They are aware that there are a lot of innocent people who are suffering, and they do not want these people to suffer. And the people who are not suffering are the people who are in a better situation, and for them to be where they are, some people must be suffering. I want you to understand that. Like everything good is predicated upon something evil. They can never be good without evil. I want you to understand that. So you shouldn't be like, well, there are some people who are enjoying their lives. Yeah, they're enjoying their lives because some people are not enjoying their lives. For there to be kings, there must be slaves. That's what you must understand. There can never be kings without slaves. That's how the world works. For you to be rich, there must be people who are poor. That's how the world works. For you to be good looking, there must be monsters, That's how it works. So that is not good. Right? For there to be winners, there must be losers. I mean, that would be good if people agreed to be here, right? If people agreed to be here, that would be good. But if you are forced to play a game that you don't necessarily want to play, where you can lose, like that's horrible. That's not good. That isn't something that you know, we must be proud of as a society. Forcing people to play a game that they didn't ask to play, where they can actually win or lose. Like that's wrong on so many levels. It's like if you kidnap people and put them in a place where they'll need to fight for their survival, right? Like in Hunger Games and movies like Hunger Games. We've seen a lot of movies where people got kidnapped and put in a place where they need to fight for their survival. You know, they didn't consent to being taken to that place, but they are in that place. That's life. But people are not conscious enough to see that. And that's why, you know, knowledge of right and wrong is important, because you're supposed to see that. You are supposed to see that. I mean, that's something that is obvious. That is something that's obvious. That isn't something that people should be debating. Kidnapping people and putting them in a place where they have to fight for their survival is wrong. That isn't something that some people shouldn't be able to understand. But some people don't understand it because, well, they've had to dumb down. I mean, a Christian will never understand that because they've had to dumb down. You see the problem? So it does make sense that the original sin was eating from the tree of knowledge, because it seems like there's this being that doesn't want people to know. There's this being that doesn't want people to think for themselves. There's this being that doesn't want people to be intelligent. This being will punish people for being intelligent. Everyone has to be dumb and just be like animals, and that's what this being wants. This being wants slaves. You see the problem? I mean, if you are truly going to be honest with yourself, Sage, if you're going to be honest with yourself, Coop, you'd know that I'm right. Like, you know that I'm right. Yes, it is true that knowing too much can make you depressed. No, but here's the thing. It does get to a point where you are now used to, you know, what you know. Like it's no longer surprises you. Like you're no longer in shock. It's like if something bad happens, of course at first it's gonna affect you in a very negative way, right? But you get used to that. So it's much better to know the truth, and yes, it's gonna make you crazy at first, but then you get used to it. Like, okay, this is how the world works. This is the truth. And you will, trust me, you will make better decisions. Even if you decide that you're still gonna bring innocent people into this world, cool. You're gonna make better decisions in life. You know, you still make babies, but still make better decisions, because you know you're not gonna be naive and make unnecessary mistakes. You will actually make better decisions just because you know, just because you think deeply, because you have reached a certain state of consciousness where you are seeing the truth that you weren't able to see. Like if you watch the movie They Live, right? There's this guy who found sunglasses that made him see, you know, the aliens that were, you know, that looked like humans. Like when he was not wearing those glasses, it just looked like me, like just looked like any other humans. But when he's wearing the glasses, you'll be able to see that, oh, he'll be able to see the messages behind lots of adverts, you know. He would see a person on the beach, find that the message behind is marry and reproduce. But when he's not wearing the sunglasses, that's not the message. You're just seeing a person on the beach. Wouldn't you say that that guy was actually making better decisions because of what he knew? And other people who weren't able to see what he was seeing were making stupid decisions because they didn't see what he was seeing. So actually being able to see deeper truth is actually good, because you're going to make better decisions. You're not going to make unnecessary mistakes. I think that's how being conscious is like. You see certain truth that, normal people do not see. Like if in every situation, I see truth that, normal people do not see. And you might say, well, now maybe what you're saying is not really the truth. Maybe you just have different opinions, like maybe you just don't see the world the way other people see the world, but it's not necessarily the truth. I know that what I'm seeing is the truth, because when I talk to other people about what I'm seeing, they start to understand that it's the truth. You see, what people do not agree with is my conclusion, like what we must do to solve the problem. It's not that what I'm seeing is not the truth, but what should we do to actually solve the problem? I'm saying, hey, just stop making babies, because there's nothing that you'll be able to do to win. Humanity is already lost. I want you to understand that we have already lost. There's nothing we can do to win. That's what you must understand. If you had a livestock, you'd know that it already lost. Like there's nothing that you're like, if you raise cattle, like there's nothing that they'll be able to do to win the game, to free themselves. They're already lost. They are very unconscious. They can't understand a lot of things that going on. They don't understand the technology that we have. They don't understand how society itself works. They don't really understand that they are owned, So if you own a livestock, there's nothing that your livestock will be able to do to free themselves. Like that's it. They lost. The best thing that they will be able to do is not have like offspring. That's it. That will be the only way for them to win. Just decide that, hey, let's not make more copies of ourselves, because we are slaves. Yeah, humans just want to eat us. There's nothing you want to do to change the world. There's nothing you can do. What you are up against is way above you. Like, that's like if normal humans were supposed to fight against super science. If you watch Dragon Balls, like if normal humans were up against super science, like you just, there's nothing that you're going to do to free yourself as humans. Like there's nothing that you'll be able to do. You just need to think about future generation, because we are not being treated right in this world. Yes, some people do get to be happy. Some people do get to do better than others, but that doesn't mean that we are free. Just because sometimes you get to have the things that you want doesn't mean that you're free. Doesn't mean that you must now bring an innocent person into this world just because you feel like you're doing better than other people. And you think that, well, if you work hard, you're going to get the things that you want, and that means that this is good. It means that this game is good. The game is not good, because people who are playing this game didn't consent to, playing this game. They're supposed to play. Like once you're born, you're playing the game, whether you want to play or not. It's like there's this other movie that I watched. I forgot what it's called, but they will put track on different people. I think the guys did consent to playing the game, where they have to kill one another. These guys, right? Like they'll have trackers and they'll hunt one another and kill one another. And this other guy accidentally drank something with the tracker, and he was part of the game. Whether he wanted to play or not, he was part of the game. He was a pastor, but he was part of the game. So once you are born, you're part of the game. Whether you want to play or not, you are part of the game. You can decide that you're gonna sleep the whole day. You are part of the game. Anything can happen to you. People can People can go into your house and marry you, even if you're just going to be at home the whole day and doing nothing, and you're still going to suffer. You're gonna have desires, like, bro. Existence itself is a burden. That's what it is. It's a burden. You're supposed to do a lot of things in order to, free yourself from suffering. That's the game. Yeah, you must be trying to free yourself from suffering. Every day, that's what we're trying to do. You see, that's the reason why people send children to school. Like, hey, if you don't go to school, you won't be able to get a job, and you're going to suffer. So you've got to go to school. You know what I mean? So the whole thing is about escaping suffering, because we do suffer if we don't do certain things in this world. So you've got to open your eyes. Ask yourself if that is really good. Because life itself is suffering. So the game is that you must try to escape suffering as best as you can. And that's the reason why we do anything at all. If there was no suffering, we wouldn't be doing the shit that we're doing. We wouldn't be working shitty jobs. We wouldn't be slaves. We wouldn't think like slaves. You see? But we have to choose our suffering here. Like, okay, we're suffering. So we suffer even when we're not doing anything. So isn't it better that we do something, so that we'll be able to kind of like escape our suffering for a moment, of course. Because you never really escape suffering. See, that's one of the reasons why I keep myself busy. That's how I escape suffering. If I woke up today and decided not to record this video, I'll probably just be chilling and stressing. But if I do different things, I'm distracting myself. That's how I escape suffering. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna record a video. After recording a video, I'm gonna go and see what's up at the farm. After seeing what's up at the farm, maybe I'll edit the video and then publish it, and then maybe go live later on. I'll go and see someone, try to do this, and distracting myself. That's what I'm doing. Everything that you're doing is just distractions, especially if you're not conscious. Because if at least if you're conscious, you might also try to figure out what you can do to free yourself, because you're conscious. You know that, okay, something isn't right, so you also want to free yourself. And that's not you distracting yourself. You're really trying to free yourself, because we still don't know how to free ourselves from this trap that we're put in, by people who weren't conscious enough to realize that it's actually wrong to put people into this trap. Because there are people who worship life so much that no matter how bad it is, they think that it is good. Like, they worship life, even when they can say that, but life isn't good, man. There's something wrong in this world. They still worship it. Like, oh, look at how things work. Look at the cycle of life. Like, no, the cycle of life is evil. The cycle of life is evil. It's like if you live in a world where humans had to eat one another. They had to eat one another to survive. And you said, well, that's how it works. If it's kill or be killed, that's how it works. That's life. Like, no, that's horrible. The fact that we have to be killing animals, that's horrible. The fact that if a lion doesn't hunt, is gonna starve, that is horrible. But that's the game that we found ourselves in. It's kill or be killed. It's head others or be hurt. That's the game, yeah. That is the game. Head others or be hurt. That's the game. So I believe that it is much better that we open our eyes and see things as they really are, instead of lying to ourselves, instead of telling ourselves that this is good even though it isn't, because that doesn't help, you know, that doesn't help. Wait, this thing can turn around like this? I didn't know it can. This is quite impressive. This is quite impressive. I didn't know it can do it, but I don't think it can rotate all the way around. Let's see. Nah, it can't. Hey, but it's still quite impressive that it can do what it does. It's still quite impressive that it can do what it does. It's technology. Like, there's some people who are able to create this, but I can't create anything remotely close to this. You know, the gap between humans is unreal. That's why I'm telling you, we're living with aliens here, man. We're living with aliens here. Like, there are a lot of evil things that are going on in the world that, you know, we are not aware of. And you see, the way that the Christian God kept knowledge from Adam and Eve is the same way that, you know, our governments are keeping knowledge from us, right? Like, you know, they're not supposed to know this, they're not supposed to know this. It's not because they think that if we knew the truth, we'll start doing bad things. They just know that if we knew the truth, we'll do the right thing, and they don't want us to do the right thing. We're supposed to remain ignorant and remain dumb. That's why they're feeding us bullshit, right? You watch, when you watch TV, you see they're feeding you bullshit. In South Africa, people watch what Big Brother. I mean, I think Big Brother is everywhere in the world. They watch Big Brother. Big Brother, actually. You're like, what? So people, like, it sucks. It sucks that people be watching shows like that because they're not really gaining anything. It's not like they become like smarter when they watch shows like that. Like, we're being fed garbage so that we'll stay at the same level of consciousness. If you're going to want to really awaken people, you know, you're gonna have a lot of problem in this world. If you decided to come up with a show where, you know, people are being taught things that will actually make them enlightened, I don't think that kind of show will be aired. They'll be like, nah, people won't like this, people won't like this, but they won't like it because they've been made to be stupid. And there was a time where when hip hop was dope, like, rappers were really standing for something, and people loved rap. Like, they loved rap. Right? They were becoming smart because listening to rap, like real rap, can like really make you smart. And some people were like, you know, nah, we don't want people to be becoming smart. I mean, they're gonna rebel. That's the thing. They're gonna rebel. So we want them to be stupid. So what if we promoted whack rappers? What if we promoted rappers that were talking about how long their dicks are, how they make girls squirt, and you know, like, we need to promote that, how much money they got, how many chains they got, you know, some monkey shit. Like, let's promote that shit. Let's make rappers who talk about garbage famous, so that people will look up to them, so that these conscious rappers die out, because, well, no one is going to be supporting them. They're not going to be making money. Isn't that what's happening in the world? The more conscious you are, the more you suffer. You know, the harder it will be for you to get the things that you want, because you are a threat. They don't want people like you to like really make it. They don't want people like you to be on top, because well, you're gonna wake people up, and they don't want people to wake up. They want people to remain ignorant. So yes, if you going to you know, be unconscious and just do whatever you want to do, chances are things are gonna wake up for you. See, you are feeding this beast, you are feeding this matrix, you are feeding God basically. So you have to, it's kind of like when Jesus was given the world by the devil, and he was like, nah. Because the idea really was that he's supposed to make people ignorant, right? Like, don't wake people up. I'm going to give you the world. Here's the world. Stop waking people up. Stop speaking the truth. I mean, there's a metaphor for what's going on in this world, in the real world. Like, the more you do all this fake shit, the more you lie to people, the more you keep people ignorant, the more you get rewarded. Like, yeah, you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. You are making people ignorant, and that's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be making people conscious. You see, people are not supposed to know what is going on. So if you're going to enlighten people, if you're going to make people smart, you're going to have real problems. Like, we're going to have a problem with you. We're going to make sure that you suffer. But if you're going to be ignorant and make other people ignorant, and then we're going to pay you. We're going to pay you for doing our job for us, because we want people to remain ignorant. You see? That is what's really going on in the world, man. That's what's really going on in the world. So it is best that people wake up and stop lying to themselves about what's really going on here, because that is not helping us. But I do understand why some people prefer lying to themselves, because, well, knowing what I know isn't easy. Thank you all, guys.